the Big 12 Conference. ISU's Alexander Robinson and K-State's Daniel Thomas. Wildcat Brandon Banks is a threat anytime he touches the football, taking 2 kickoffs to the house last week. Conference play begins today for the Cyclones and Wildcats from Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City, next on Fox College Sports. Tailgaters outside Arrowhead Stadium, the home to the Kansas City Chiefs. The folks from Iowa State and also the folks from Manhattan, Kansas have made the trek to Missouri, a neutral site for Kansas State. They are 2-2. Iowa State off to a good start. They're 3-1. Both these teams under new head coaches. Yogi Roth, a former standout in college. I'm Dan McLaughlin, and welcome to college football here on Fox College Sports. Yogi, when you think about it, you start conference play. This is really when you really start to kick your season going in conference play.
Yeah, and both of these programs, they've got coaches who have renewed energy and an enthusiasm, and that is trickling down to every one of the players.
Now, we were looking at tape this week. We talked to the coaches, the coordinators, and one thing stood out. They are going to run the football on both sides.
Yeah, they are. When you look at the spread offense, you always think they're going to throw it all day long. Not this afternoon. They're going to pound the football downhill, starting with Carson Kaufman at quarterback. He's going to be able to run very well under center in the shotgun, and obviously Daniel Thomas, this guy has been stupendous thus far this season. And also, you'll watch him throw the ball a little bit in the Wildcat.
And for Iowa State, they have a brand new head coach and a real different look offensively, but this guy is back, and he's a good one.
Yeah, Austin Arnaud, I mean, he grew up 10 minutes from the stadium. He is an Iowa State Cyclone from birth, and he's very focused on today. Hasn't played up to his expectations thus far. And at running back, obviously, Alexander Robinson. He is a dominant running back. 3 straight games, over 100 yards. He's somebody you have to watch all afternoon.
And Yogi, we've got close to 60,000 here. It's a neutral site. How do you think that plays into this ball game today?
Well, I think it's exciting. I got to play at Heinz Field when I was in college, and whenever you get to go into an NFL stadium, you kind of think, oh, maybe I could play here later on in my career. So the players are excited, the coaching staff is excited, and we should get a great game today at Arrowhead.
And we're excited as well. Glad you're with us here on Fox College Sports. Sam Steele, the third member of our broadcast crew, will be with us when we return. It's Iowa State, Kansas State coming up on Fox College Sports. Field, Kansas City Chiefs, as a matter of fact, will play here tomorrow afternoon. How does that change the difference with the pro game and the college game as far as the numbers and the hash marks?
Well, there's so many things that go into it when you're into a pro stadium all of a sudden. The locker rooms are different. The fans aren't as close to you. But when you get to specifically the field, when you look at the numbers, the NFL numbers are on the field right now. The college numbers are just little hash marks on the outside of that. So when you're looking at receivers or running backs in the spread offense that have to be lined up out there, you have to wonder, are splits going to be completely right every single time? And if they're not, they got to get to the sideline. It's something you could talk about. You can't really practice it because your practice field is going to be exactly how a college football stadium should look.
Well, I know you had a chance to visit with Paul Rhodes yesterday and last night. And, well, speaking of Coach Rhodes, he's downstairs live with Sam. Sam, take it away.
Coach, you're known for some pretty fiery pregame speeches. What's the last thing you told your guys in there?
We got to play as a team, and we got to play with game day and game length execution.
Coach, you've seen plenty of film on Snyder, 20-plus years. What's it going to take to stop these guys? You know what they're going to throw at you?
We got to play extremely smart because I know they will. They will not make mistakes.
All right, good luck, Coach.
Thank you.
All right, Sam, thank you. And that's the first-year head coach, Paul Rhodes, and we'll get into his history at Iowa after we return. We'll take a quick timeout. When we come back, we'll have our opening kickoff and our starting lineups. College football just about set to go here on Fox College Sports. Mentioned that you had dinner last night with the head coach. What was said? What's going to happen here tonight? Paul Rhodes.
It was great just to get with Coach Rhodes and members of his staff because they coached me when I was at Pitt. And Samantha and I got to sit down with them and talk about the game plan, but more importantly, talk about what it means to be a head coach. Coach Rhodes, since the day I saw him when I was 18, he had head coach written all over him. His excitement, his enthusiasm is contagious. And you can see on the sideline throughout his staff, and obviously the fans, Cyclone Nation is feeling him today all across Iowa City.
David Sims and Leonard Johnson back deep to receive for Iowa State. They won the toss and they elected to receive. On the other sideline, though, you have Bill Snyder. Folks, on October 7th, he will turn 70, 69 years of age. And there you see the numbers for Bill Snyder. Most people believe it was the greatest turnaround in college football history when he took over back in 1989, and a team that had nearly lost 30 straight. Josh Cherry is the kicker for Kansas State. He'll kick it away, and we're just about set to go for college football. And away we go. This is Johnson inside his 10. Now takes it up the middle. He's got a couple of blocks. Johnson to the 30. And a flag on that play late. And for the stop, it was Lamarck Brown. Our official today is Scott Novak, our referee.
Holding 24, the return team. 10-yard penalty. First down.
It's on Kevin Hamlin, a backup linebacker, a freshman. So that will drive Iowa State back, and they'll have our first possession of this ball game.
Starting off the game with a penalty definitely doesn't make Coach Rhodes and his staff happy. He talked about discipline all last night in his team meeting to his players.
So holding against Iowa State. They'll have it first and 10 on the 19. The name you'll hear time and again, Arnaud and Alexander Robinson. Arnaud, as we highlighted in our open, the outstanding quarterback coming off a fine season a year ago. So ball on the 14. Not the 19, the 14 for Iowa State. And let's get it going. Arnaud hands it off, and it goes up the middle, and a pickup of maybe 4 on the play. We're going to see this a lot. Now, Coach Snyder and Iowa State, they both have talked about trying to have possession of the football and time of possession being so.
Gain of 6 yards on the play.
Today. The starting lineups brought to you by Phillips HD. The Iowa State backs and receivers. And it's second down and 6 after a pickup of 4. Arnaud keeps it himself, dives ahead.
Austin Arnaud.
He's a dual threat, isn't he, Yogi?
Yeah, he is. You're going to see him all afternoon long, and you need to get in a rhythm as a quarterback. The best way to do it is kind of get hit right off the bat.
Kansas State defensive line up front. Troy Butler was in on that last stop. You see the junior on the right side of your screen. And the defensive backfield. Over the years for Coach Snyder, boy, he's had some great defensive backs come through that program.
Yeah, he has. They take a great pride in it. In recruiting, it's obviously a great advantage for them.
And the ball is on the 28. They pick up the first down. First and 10 for Iowa State. Arnaud to throw for the first time. To the sideline. Catch is made. Boy, that's a heck of a catch there. And that's Jake Williams, the wide receiver out of West Des Moines, Iowa. On the coverage, Joshua Moore. You're a wide receiver. You like to see that. The 2 hands and go up and snare it.
All day long.
The fans on both sides of this stadium on their feet. They pick up their second first down. And driving early on, ball on the 41. They'll carry it right up the middle. Very methodical. And, you know, both coaches, as we said before, talked about this. Time of possession being such a key. Guidry in on the stop. But they're going to try to mix in both the run and the pass, but certainly try to do a lot of running. And here's our Fearless predictions brought to you by Phillips HD.
Yeah, number one, they got to stop the run on defense. Offensively, like you just mentioned, dictate the tempo. When you do that by changing calls of the line of scrimmage, and they're doing it thus far in their first drive. And 3, Austin Arnaud. He's got to play well and not harbor plays. You saw him early on this far. He's got a great completion to his right. He's had some difficulty the past few weeks throwing to his left. He needs to be accurate. He needs to anticipate his receivers like he did on the comeback there.
So 3rd down and 4 with the ball on the 47. Little play action. trying to hit his tight end, and that was Andrew Mitchell. He'll be a tight end and also work from the slot. Mitchell, big target. Now Iowa State has to punt it away.
The biggest thing at quarterback, specifically on that play, that's called a 5-yard out by the tight end. The terminology is called a stick route. When you run a stick route as a quarterback, the number one thing you need to do is get your eyes in front of your offensive player. See the defense, because the throw needs to be a placement type throw. You're not going to hit him on the run. You're going to hit one shoulder or the other, and obviously Arnad missing right there.
The senior Brandner kicks it away. Fair catch called for and made near that 11-yard line. That was Tyson Hartman, who's also a defensive back for Kansas State. So the Wildcats now have it with their first possession, and you and I were just talking moments ago before the kickoff. Kansas State very easily could have won that ball game at UCLA just a few weeks ago as they lost 23-9.
Yeah, and it blows your mind when you watch the film. They dominated time of possession. They moved the ball into UCLA territory the first 6 straight possessions. And then even watching the Tennessee Tech game, their first drive of the game, it took over 9 minutes. They love chewing up the clock in this spread offense where they pound the football downhill. And that's what we expect to see this afternoon right off the bat in their first possession.
I just showed you Grant Gregory. That's a favorite target. He can do various things in this offense. And the Wildcats actually run the Wildcat, don't they? The offense.
Yeah,
It's become so popular.
You're exactly right. Talk to Coach Snyder about it. Ask him, do you feel really proud you started this trend many moons ago? And he said, every once in a while when I wasn't coaching, I'd look back and have a proud moment. But he's such a humble man that he didn't want to take all the credit for it. But make no mistake, he is the one who started it. In his place, Kansas State, they started the spread, they started the Wildcat, and it really has obviously caught fire in college football.
And now it's Grant Gregory under center. Gregory hands it off. And it looks like they picked up the first down. That was the linebacker Josh Raven, the senior. 60 tackles during his Cyclone career and 3 tackles for a loss against Kent State. So look at the starting lineups brought to you by Phillips HD. Who stands out for you offensively that we should probably note here for our fans at home?
Well, I love Atrell Snipes. One of the best stories I've heard all year in college football that we'll get to. Coming out of Seattle, a phenomenal story about how he's overcome a lot of adversity in his career.
They pick up the first down. The ball is on the 22. I always think about Michael Bishop. When you think about some great talented players in that backfield for Kansas State in their history. Now we take a look at the defensive line for Iowa State. And again, lineups presented by Phillips HD. That was Neal on that stop. Yeah, when the linebackers there. When
you talk to the defensive coordinator at Iowa State, Wally Burnham, he's been around football for 40-plus years. Coach Dion and Derek Brooks back at Florida State. So the way you defend this spread-type offense is simple looks, but give them pressures from all over the place. Try to confuse whoever's taking the snaps at shotgun.
This is Harris. A little stutter step and close to a first down for Kansas State. Give you a little history recently for these teams. For Kansas State, it was a win over UMass 21-17, a loss to Louisiana Lafayette, a loss to UCLA, and then they won last week against Tennessee Tech 49-7. Big third down here.
We talked to Coach Rhodes. Third down. He calls it his money down. Get off the field on third down. He's preached it ever since he started coaching. It'll be neat to see what they come up with the first third down of the game.
Put a man in motion. That's Klein. And they'll pick up the first down. It's Daniel Thomas again, the running back and the junior out of Florida. On the stop, it was Jesse Smith, and there's a look at our fearless prediction for Kansas State.
The fearless position. The big three need to play well. That's Daniel Thomas, the quarterback Kaufman, who we've yet to see, and Brandon Banks. On defense, they need to stop Iowa State's rushing attack and get 3 big plays. They had 2 kickoff returns for touchdowns. Where are the big plays going to come this afternoon?
1st and 10 with the ball on the 34 for the Wildcats. This is Gregory, who is under center. We highlighted Carson Kaufman. Gregory runs the option, keeps it himself, spins, and picks up 8 on the play.
Gregory, a very interesting prospect. He's transferred from South Florida. All he's wanted was a shot to play under center, and he's getting it today, getting a lot of snaps right now, and taking advantage of this chance he has. He's a sixth-year senior. This is it for him, and this is probably the only time he's going to be in this environment, being the leader of the team in Arrowhead Stadium, and he can tell right now he's loving every element of it.
James Smith on that stop, the free safety, had 9 tackles against Iowa and over 190 stops in his career. And they'll pick up another first down.
You can see how this offense is. Just keep churning and churning. And all of a sudden, 8 minutes left in the first quarter. Before you know it, the game's almost over. What they do a nice job of is up front. This is a zone type of scheme. That means that the offensive linemen, they get a body on a body, and the running back gets to read where the cutback lanes are, which allows for big plays if the defense is not accountable and responsible for their exact gap.
So the ball on the 48. And here's the speedster. Look at this. Trying to get a block now. He's got a little room. This is Banks. Banks to the 35 and a late flag on the play.
Brandon Banks, the ball carrier.
The electricity in the stadium when he touches the football, and that stop was made by Leonard Johnson.
I'll tell you what, I got a chance to talk to him this week, and I said, describe yourself for me if I'm an NFL GM. And he said, I'm electrifying. I run sub 4.3. So we're going to see him a lot this afternoon. Sub 4.3.
Personal foul, face mask on the defense, number 23. 15 yards from the end of the run. First down.
Now, if he does run that sub 4.3, we got to give credit to Mike Kent and Darren Honeycutt, the strength staff, guys that I got a chance to work with at Pitt. Whatever they're doing, they didn't have me doing that because I was not running a sub 4.3. I was trying to get sub 4.6. An amazing talent, though, this kid. Every time the ball gets in his hands, they're going to try to find as many creative ways on special teams, offensively. In his mind, he could play DB. He thinks he's Charles Woodson. And this is a big-time player in the Big 12 who has the speed and capability to score every time he touches the football.
Ball on the 17. It's 1st and 10 for Kansas State. Little play action. They want to throw, and they'll swing it to the sideline, and the catch is made for a short pickup.
An interesting play right there. What that is a waggle. When you run the ball with the success that Kansas State does, you can fake the run to the left and roll out to the right. When you do that as a quarterback, you need to take what the defense gives you. So while he completed this pass, look at 85. He's wide open right there in the center of your screen. You want to take that easy completion. Instead, he went outside. It'll be fun to watch him as the afternoon goes on. Does he try to make a big play, or does he just take what the defense gives him?
That was Klein on the catch. Bernard Banks on the stop. 2nd down and 4. They'll run the football this time. And a big 3rd down now here.
Oh, huge 3rd down. It's going to be exciting to see what they call. And think about it. As a coach, you always want to stay one play ahead. And if you're Kansas State, you know if you get to 4th down, your field goal kicker has not had a lot of success. So what are you going to do this snap knowing that you might have to go for it again on 4th down? So do you try to just get half and run another quarterback draw or give it to your big back? Or do you try to take a shot at the end zone? Fun to see what offensive corner decides right here for Kansas State. He's done a nice job thus far this season. And talking about Dana DeMel and Del Miller, the co-coordinators.
With Jesse Smith, the senior, on the stop. Inside the 5, and it's 1st and goal as Kansas State picks up the 1st down. Daniel Thomas, who averages just about 5 yards a carry. And again, that was Jesse Smith on the stop. Smith had a career-best 15 tackles against North Dakota State and over 200 stops in his career. So 1st and goal for Kansas State.
We talked about the spread in the open and what they do, and everybody thinks you want to throw the football, but make no mistake, this game will be won or lost for either team up front. And right now on this drive, Kansas State is owning the line of scrimmage.
Thomas, and brought down again by that senior leader, Jesse Smith.
Thomas is an interesting guy when you look at the running back position. He was a junior college quarterback. All running back coaches around the country watching this game are saying, well, he doesn't have that low of a pad level. His shoulders aren't necessarily down every time he runs the football. But that's because he hasn't been playing running back his entire life. But he's such a good athlete and does so many spectacular things with the ball in his hands that Coach Snyder said, we need him on the field, put him in position where he can influence and dictate the tempo of the game. And that's what he's done on this first drive.
Little option. Gregory keeps it himself, and the Wildcats strike first. Grant Gregory, the 6'1 senior out of Athens, Ohio.
You got to be excited about the sixth-year senior now, Grant Gregory. He has kind of waited his time, and for the first drive where he has command of this offense, he leads them on a long drive, the course of the field, chunk of about 9 minutes or so, and you have to be very excited for him. And as he looked at the sideline, his teammates, they couldn't be more proud of the guy.
Josh Cherry on for the extra point for Kansas State. Methodical drive put together for the Wildcats in their first drive here on Fox College Sports. The plunge from Gregory. The extra point good. 7-0. Kansas State on top. The situation down there on the sideline, is it?
No, we heard those rumors, and so I watched Kaufman in warm-ups, and he seemed fine. No injury. I just got confirmation Carson Kaufman is not injured. So maybe you have something to say about that at home. Jump on Twitter, follow me @SamOnFCS, and let us know what you think. Are they just trying out the new guy? Maybe he has some experience standing behind the other guys in the past couple years at Indiana and at South Florida. So let us know what you think.
All right, Sam, good job. And Sims, along with Johnson, back deep to receive. Cherry, who just added the extra point, will kick it away. Bill Snyder, very much Yogi like the NFL. He's not going to disclose very much, is he?
No, he's not. He doesn't let his assistants talk to the media. He doesn't disclose his injuries. But you have to love, he's consistent in his approach. He did the same thing when he came on all throughout the 90s and obviously when he returned this past season.
This is Johnson out of his own end zone, and he slipped.
This is going to be a great drive to really take a look at Iowa State's offense. And we come back, you're going to hear all about it.
It's 7-0, Kansas State. In the backfield for Iowa State. And Schwartz's first carry. And Alexander Robinson, this could be huge. 100-yard games against Iowa and Kent State and Army. Groin injury right now, so we're not sure if he'll return, but what we do know is that he is out, so the backup is in, Jeremiah Schwartz.
He tweaked it last week in their game. He caught a wheel route for a touchdown, a great play. You can see him pull a little bit, and in this offense, when so much of it is a counter, and by that he's crossing from starting on the right, a lot of his runs go left. You need to utilize a lot of those leg muscles, and it puts a little strain on you.
Arnaud to throw the football in and out of the hands of the intended receiver, and that is incomplete. He almost caught it, but it's incomplete. He was looking for Johnson.
We need to watch Arnaud come back from this. Remember, all the last few games, he's had difficulty throwing to his left. His first time to his left, he throws a dime. It's his receiver right in the chest. You need to make those plays. Help the quarterback out early on in the game. Arnaud's big issue thus far this season is harboring plays. If he throws a bad play, does he hang with it? Let him hang on his mentality and his memory. He needs to let it go and deal right here on their next play on third down.
That was Joshua Moore on the coverage. 3 wide receivers to the bottom of your screen. Arnaud to throw. Trying to dump it underneath. It's incomplete, and Iowa State will have to kick it away. And he was looking for Darius Darks, one of his favorite targets, and Harrison in on the coverage for Kansas State. And the way that this game has started, boy, you couldn't draw it up any better right now for Bill Snyder.
Darks, when you look at the quarterback and what he did on that play in the throw to Darks, he stepped up in the pocket. But whenever you make a throw as a quarterback, you need to have control of your feet. He did not set his feet. And when that happens, the ball can somewhat tail off on you. And right there, they obviously weren't on the same page. But some of the little things we can look at this afternoon.
A high kick. And a fair catch made at the 37 by Tyson Hartman. We'll step aside. You're watching Big 12 football on Fox College Sports. Over the middle, and it is caught inside the 25, and the catch by Lamarck Brown, the junior.
I'll tell you what, in pregame, got a chance to walk around the field, and the first person I noticed was Lamar Brown. This kid is 6'3", 225, out of Missouri, went to Hazelwood West, and he is as good of a body on the field as you'll see all afternoon. He said, from the coach's standpoint, this is who we want getting off the bus first, because he looks that physically freakish in his stature. I mean, this guy is ripped, he is cut. I mean, probably like you when you're back in high school, man, slinging the rock.
You didn't know me too well then. They'll swing it to the sideline. Here's that speedster Banks little nifty move and picks up about 5 on the play. Clock continues to run. Just over 3.5 to go first quarter. And this clock has been moving because both teams have been running.
Yeah, they have. And that last possession and that last play by Kansas State on the deep pass to Brown was very good job by their offensive coordinator. Why? Iowa State, they're going to have 2 safeties deep at all times. But they're going to be about 8 or 9 yards from the line of scrimmage trying to fit up the run. When they see run fake, they're going to step up, and that's going to open up those seams down the middle of the field. And that's exactly what they did, and Gregory delivered an absolute dime on that throw.
That was Sims on the last stop for the Cyclones. Gregory will tuck it, and it brings up a 3rd down. Now, you mentioned this before, and we should probably talk about it here. If they would not get the first down, here they are inside the 20. We've seen their kicking game. I mean, is it something where Bill Snyder says, okay, if I'm inside the 30, I'm going for it every time?
Well, there's 2 mentalities, right? One is, let's see if we can get our kicker going and give him a little confidence, give him the kick. Or, if this is a close game, I want to save that confidence for later on in the football game. So it's all about the week and how they handle their kicker. Now, don't forget, the head coach's son was an All-American kicker. And if anybody can give him advice, I bet it would be him.
Gregory keeps it, and the helmet flies off. Be very close to that first down. And again, Jesse Smith, boy, is he a player or what? The linebacker of Iowa State.
He absolutely is a ball hawk. And talking about this defense, they love getting to the football, playing with rhythm, and they call him having juice on the football field, and exactly what he has. Jesse Smith, career high 15 tackles with North Dakota State, and he is someone to keep your eye on. He loves the game. He's a film junkie, and he's a Paul Roach type of individual on defense.
4th down and 1. Thomas in the backfield with Gregory. And Gregory signals to the official and wants a timeout. So the first taken for either side, a timeout taken by Kansas State. This will be a 30-second timeout. And there's a look at Bill Snyder, 18th year at Kansas State. Left for 3 seasons, and his record 138, 70-1. You see his record at Arrowhead, and he was the offensive coordinator at Austin College in the 70s. He was at North Texas, and then most people know him as the offensive coordinator from Iowa, who somehow turned around the program at Kansas State. It is a remarkable story.
It really is, and he is a disciplinarian. He came in here and he said, I wanted to come back to give back to this community that gave me so much. Get this program in the right direction and then hand it off to somebody else. He's not going to coach for another 20 years. We know that. But if he can get the thing going in the right direction, kind of fix the sail a little bit, in Kansas State, look out of the Big 12, because they've proven it can happen. And they have the history that you mentioned at a variety of different positions to recruit stellar athletes out of high school and obviously junior college.
4th and 1, the option play. Gregory pitches it. Thomas, and the spot is going to be short of the first down. He stepped out of bounds.
And we got a flag on the play, but when you look at Gregory on this play, this is not a smart play by the quarterback. You are so close to the sideline, you do not want to make that pitch. You want to tuck and just fall forward and dive for that first down.
Now, I believe there was a flag here on the play. Let's see.
The runner's progress was moved short of the first down after the play. Dead ball, personal foul number 81, Kansas State. 15-yard penalty, first down.
You just see the lips of Bill Snyder. He said, who was that on?
It's a late pitch from the QB. Whoa.
I'm not sure he stepped out. What do you think?
It looked like that one could have gone Kansas State's way. But I'll tell you what, knowing that other sideline of Paul Rhodes, he is using this to every bit of his advantage and firing his boys up. He loves nothing more than a 4th down stand. And now his offense is going to try to get that tempo and rhythm back they talk about all off season long.
Alexander Robinson, by the way, their fine tailback, is back in the game. He was on the sideline. We talked about the groin injury he's been dealing with. But Robinson was on a bike and just trying to stay loose. So a stoppage in play here with 1:37 to go in our first quarter, with Kansas State leading 7-0.
Now remember, to get reviewed, there needs to be conclusive evidence. So as the officials are going to take another look as they listen to the guys up in the booth, this must be conclusive. So as we go back to the replay, you see the late pitch by the QB. And as he gives the pitch, does he keep that foot in? Left foot down, not out of bounds. Right foot, it looks in to me. This should be a first down Kansas State. Now, if you're the offensive coordinator for Kansas State, you better get your play call ready to go now. You're going to get the ball back in the red zone. You're going to have a chance to keep this drive alive. And also on the other side of the football, the staffs right now are preparing both sides of the ball for a play, whether it's defensively, hey, expect this if you're Iowa State, or vice versa. You know, an interesting aspect of Paul Rhodes is, I asked him, what was it like in that first game as a head coach? He said, well, I had the headset on, and I was just listening the whole time. I had to get it off and get involved in the game a little bit. So you'll see him today. He won't be wearing the headset a ton, and that's not his mentality. He needs to feel the energy of the football game, and that's exactly the type of ball coach that he is.
Well, his dad is in the Iowa State High School Football Coaches Hall of Fame. As you talked about, he grew up about 10 minutes from campus. So, you know, here's a guy that understands what it means to be at Iowa State, the community, the fans, and what type of player they can get to try to win there. He's a guy that, you know, looks at this as a long-term job too.
Big time. I mean, he's wanted this job forever.
After further review, the runner was ruled out to have stepped out of bounds at the 12-yard line, which was enough for a first down. We will enforce the 15-yard foul. It will be Kansas State ball, 1st and 10 at the 27-yard line.
This crowd of Iowa State, the reversed play and one of the biggest of the day, and that is huge. So now Kansas State has it in terrific field position. Now remember, there was the personal foul at the end of the play, so they're not at the 12. It had to be dropped back, but now that Iowa State defense needs another stop.
Yeah, they do. It's going to be very interesting to watch what Wally Burnham does right here. He's seen these offenses forever. Remember, he's seen more film than we could even dream of in over 40 years of coaching. But right now, they've got to find a way to somewhat stop this offense, because they are moving 3, 4, 7 yards at a clip in the running attack.
Well, that's a demoralizing play as Thomas gets the carry and picks up maybe 6 on the play. You know, if you're Paul Rhodes, somehow, some way, you got to get your guys ready to go and gear them back up.
Yeah, and the one thing Iowa State, what they're going to play with, and you have to be excited if you're the athletic director or the president that made the hire of Paul Rhodes, they're going to play with great passion and great energy all afternoon long. That will never be an issue, and especially when you get a first-year coach, that is the one underlying principle that really doesn't go away if you bring that energy as the person in charge as Paul Rhodes is.
Under a minute to go, clock is running. Little play action, looking for the tight end. Now he'll dump it underneath. And that was the speedster Banks. And the stop by David Sims, the strong safety. Had 3 interceptions in the first 3 games. And he comes into play today with nearly 30 tackles on the year.
That's a great job by Gregory. When you look at this quarterback, watch his eyes. As he makes the fake, he looks downfield first, sees that it's covered, the safeties are deep, he drops it down instantly and makes a decision. When you play that quarterback, you better be reactionary, and the only way you can do that is by preparing all week long. And for a backup who hasn't been the starter this far this season, you have to be proud of how he has obviously prepared.
Thomas in the backfield. 3rd and short. They get the first down. Ball is loose. And who's got it? Iowa State football. Huge.
And the sideline is pretty excited as the fans have erupted, and Paul Rhodes talks about it all the time. We need to tackle the football. Gang tackle, get to the football, get as many strip opportunities as possible, and it was a great job right there. Get on the football, dogpile the football, pull the opponent off, and now Iowa State and their offensive coordinator, Tom Herman, let's see what they do and how they attack this Kansas State secondary and defense.
Christopher Lyle, his 2nd fumble recovery this season, but none bigger than that one there. 2 seconds to go in our first quarter. Arnott in the shotgun. I'll try to get a little breathing room here. Big hole. First down and then some. To the 40. And brought down at the 43. The big man that time, Alexander Robinson. The stop was Joshua Moore.
You gotta love this kid. Playing hurt, number 33, Alexander Robinson. What an impressive guy. A little emotion into that Iowa State offense.
Robinson playing with that sore groin, and he's on the sideline right now, but he picks up a huge first down and more. It's 7-0. Nod working from the shotgun. It'll be 1st and 10 after the huge pickup by Robinson, but he had to go to the sideline out with that sore groin, so Schwartz is in the backfield. Schwartz gets the call and maybe gets back to the original line of scrimmage, and that was Daniel Calvin in on the stop for the Wildcats of Kansas State. You talk about an emotional leader. How about this?
Oh, it's awesome. This is what football and college football is all about. Alexander Robinson, the true leader of this team, obviously performance-wise, and now speaking in the huddle. And if you're his backup, if you're that running back, Jeremiah Schwartz, you're saying, man, I want to play well, but I also want to play well for my meeting room because right now I'm carrying the load.
And Robinson, the helmet off. That's not a good sign for Cyclone fans. Little play action. Arnott to the sideline, and that's short. You can hear it from the fans on the sideline where we're at. That's the second time that Arnott has had a chance to hit an open receiver, and he hasn't done it.
Yeah, and he has some difficulty throwing to his left. And right there, they're pulling their front side guard. That means there's a little movement right in front of him. He's not just taking a straight drop back and throwing it out there on the out route. He had to avoid a defender, but he's got to make those plays, and it's frustrating. This is a kid who grew up 6 blocks from the stadium. He feels the pressure. He wants the pressure. He loves being in the situation, but needs to start making those completions.
3rd and 10. Arnaud will run for it. Near midfield, diving ahead. And that's what he can do. With his legs, he picks up the first down. The tackle made by Holick.
How great is this? How great is college football? One snap, you throw a poor route and you get booed. The next snap, you take it, you tuck it, and away you go to get the first down, and now you're cheered. This is college football at its finest with the quarterback, Austin Arnaud.
So they convert another 3rd down. It'll be 1st and 10 with the ball on the 44 of the Wildcats. Schwartz up the middle, across the 40, tackled at the 38.
And that's what Schwartz is going to give you. Coming out of Orlando, Florida, Edgewater High School, a good football school. He's played good ball throughout his career. He's never been the featured back, but he's probably always wanted the opportunity, and that's what backups want. Now you've got it, and can you seize the opportunity? Let's not forget, the next back to go in is a transfer from Florida, Johnny Bo Williams. So it could get interesting this afternoon.
2nd down and 5 after the pickup by Schwartz. They'll run it again.
Schwartz on the
A
carry.
quarterback's best friend is the running game. Why? Because then all of a sudden you do a little play action aspect, and then guys become wide open instead of having to find small lanes and spot throws.
Freeback with his 3rd tackle for Kansas State. So 3rd and 2. Arnaud gets the call, keeps it himself. Look at this again for the 2nd time, dragging that pile with him and getting the yardage for the first down. And on the stop was Lemure, the defensive back for the Wildcats, and it's a 5-yard pickup and a first down.
Tell you what, the first thing I thought of was last week in New York Jets, and Mark Sanchez on that quarterback sneak drops his head. He loses his helmet on this play, and what's an amazing element that people may not remember is that right now, when you're the quarterback and you're putting your head down, your teammates are loving you. They are feeling you up front, on the sideline, the defense. If this guy is going out and giving it that effort, then I got to do it too, as we get a great run behind the running back. Again, Schwartz carrying the load.
He's brought down at the 25, and Freeback in on the stop, and that's his 4th tackle of the afternoon. No huddle this time. 4 wide receivers. Shotgun, Arnott again. Schwartz in the backfield with him. They'll swing it out, set up a little screen. And they'll pick up the first down.
Now, remember, in this no huddle, we're going to feature it at halftime so you can really understand why it works. There's two different types of tempos. One, where the quarterback right now is going to look to the sideline. The other one, they're going to start yelling, jet, 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 or something along those lines, and they're going to give him the play, and he's not going to look to the sideline, and they're going to run it. And right now, you can tell this Kansas State defense, it is not very deep, and they look a little tired, and this is a great job by offensive coordinator Tom Herman, in my opinion, one of the smartest minds in the game, recognizing that, going jet tempo, and trying to steal a play, which they just did, and now you're first down.
This is Arnaud, and he'll hand it off. Big hole again. Schwartz running over the tackler. And a pickup of 4 on the play. That was Lemure again, the defensive back. You don't like to hear his name called a lot. That means you're getting in that backfield.
No, you're exactly right. You don't want to do that too much. And that defensive backfield for Kansas State has made a lot of tackles thus far this season. One thing is they're short tacklers and they're saving some touchdowns, but they're getting down to the box, and there's a place you don't want to live too often.
To the first down. Well, the folks from Kansas State know all about Austin Arnaud, the junior quarterback out of Ames. 493 total yards against Kansas State in 2008. That tied the school's single game mark, which was held by Seneca Wallace. And this is 3rd and 1, and Seneca Wallace is playing on Sundays. And now timeout taken by Kansas State, their second timeout taken here in the first half.
When you're looking at this quarterback, he was born to wear this color. He was born to be a Cyclone. His father played here in 78 through 81. He was a cornerback and a strong safety. He grew up watching Sage Rosenfeld, Seneca Wallace, like you mentioned. Did a great job, and now he is carrying this Iowa State offense thus far in the second quarter.
Arnaud stopped. Kurt and Guidry in on the stop for Kansas State.
Tell you what, you look at this right here, and good pressure, not just coming off the edge by Kansas State, but interior. That defensive line with Fitzgerald right up front, they just simply got after it right there. Fitzgerald, a transfer from the University of Virginia, has the ability to make big-time plays, and I think is the only big NFL prospect you're going to see in the field today, and he acted like one right there.
32-yard attempt for Grant Mahoney. Mahoney trying to get the Cyclones on the board. The kick is up. It is good. And an impressive drive capped off with 3 points by Mahoney. So Iowa State gets on the board. 9:39 to go in our first half of play. You're watching Big 12 football on Fox College Sports.
Over and said, son, coach him up, coach him up. So he got in there. He was Schwartz's biggest fan, was coaching him up in the huddle, but it looks like he's not going to be back out there today, guys.
All right, Sam, good stuff. And that's tough news for Cyclone fans if he's not coming back out there, but Schwartz did a nice job on that drive.
Yeah, anytime a player gets hurt, it's never good news, but it's an opportunity for the backup to prove that, hey, can you be the man you want to be? Let's see what you can do in the backfield. Schwartz is delivering.
Taken at the 1, Banks faked handing it off, and it's a tackle made at the 16. That drive for the Cyclones, 13 plays, 77 yards. You know, now they regroup, and it's been a while since they've been on the field.
This is just like the UCLA game. They moved the football against UCLA, but it's 13-7 at the half. You know, same type of thing. If you were looking at the scoreboard, you'd think they'd be up 21-0 right now, but that's not the case, and Iowa State is hanging in there playing hard football.
This is Thomas. So, Yogi, why is that? Why are they able to drive the ball down the field, but yet you look up, you think they've had possession because they run the ball so much, then more times than not they do. The stop there was Ruben Hammer up front, but why do you think that is?
Well, that's been the big issue all season long. You have to finish drives. And right now, they're dominating the conference in time of possession, over 35 minutes per game. But they're not undefeated because you have to score points. And when special teams aren't doing well, you have no confidence in your kicker, and you're not punching it in for touchdowns. It's a proven recipe for allowing teams to kind of hang in there. Before you know it, a few turnovers later, you got a ball game.
And they go with the running game right up the middle. And again, that's Daniel Thomas on the stop yet again. Jesse Smith, and now the fans of Iowa State rise to their feet.
Third down. Paul Rhodes preaching from the day he got the job. He said, hey, we're going to be hitting people off the bus. We're going to play with a passion and a pride, and we are going to get off the field on the money down, which is third down. And these fans read every article. They watch every commercial Coach Rhodes is in. They love what he's doing, and they're listening to every word he's preaching. And right now on third down, they're supporting the head coach's mantra.
Gregory steps up. Fires, banks, oh! If he hits him, that's 6. Instead, they'll have to punt it away.
And Gregory knew it. He dropped to his knees and just gave one of those, oh man, I had him. A great job by that young quarterback, or the young playing experienced quarterback, a 6th-year senior, of stepping up in the pocket and keeping his eyes downfield. When you look at this play, watch Gregory. It's covered at first. He gets a little pressure from the outside, steps up in the pocket, has a chance, and that's one of those plays you've thrown so many times. It's backyard football, stepping up on the run, and right there you would have loved for him to make that completion, and he's upset more than anybody.
Lins calls for the fair catch. It'll roll, and this will be down at the 27. Looked like he just never felt comfortable getting under that football, so we'll step aside, and Iowa State will have it. Momentum on their side. You're watching Big 12 football on Fox College Sports.
I want to.
There it is, and you wonder if the sun got in his eyes.
Yeah, it probably did, and I know exactly what that youngster's feeling. When I returned punts my first game, Paul Rhodes was my position coach. I came to the sideline, did something just like that, and he said, I don't want you to be a hero. Either make the catch or get away from the football. So I kind of know and can feel what that punt return is feeling right now, but don't worry. He'll love you up after the next one.
Intended receiver Jake Williams, the junior, and brings up a 2nd and 10 from the 27. You see it very cloudy, and hopefully the rain will stay away. It's about 58 degrees and cool here in Kansas City, Missouri. Arrowhead Stadium, a neutral site for Iowa State and Kansas State. The sun has peeked through the clouds again. Arnaud to throw. He does so. And they pick up close to a first down, depending on the spot.
That was
Hamilton and Kenner in on the stop for the Wildcats.
You got to be happy with Coach Tom Herman and going back. He's had difficulty throwing to his left. He threw a high pass earlier. He came right back, and then 2 snaps later, and he completed it. You have to like what he's done. Remember, Herman's history, he rewrote the record books at Rice. He broke over 50 records calling that offense down there, and he knows how to handle quarterbacks just as well as anyone in the country.
Arnaud to throw again. This is the play that we just saw moments ago.
In this spread offense, it's not a million different plays. It's running the same plays consistently well. You want to use all 100 yards, all 52.5 yards of this football field. Use every inch of it, and that's the philosophy of this offensive football team for Iowa State, and they've done it thus far, and that's how you can get your quarterback into a rhythm. And when he's in a rhythm, good things happen like they are right now as Iowa State's moving the football.
It was Harrison on that tackle. Arnaud still on his feet. Look at this. Well, you talked about it, Yogi, how if you see your quarterback doing that, that was Guidry, and Fitzgerald was in there as well. But you know, if your quarterback is dragging the pile and lowering his shoulder, everybody just feeds off that because your QB is doing it.
That's exactly right. He is the leader of this football team. He is the one that everyone is going to follow. And when he's in that huddle and he's grass-stained and bruising and sweating, and he can say, all right, guys, I'm calling it again. They're calling my number. Block for me. You're going to do it because you see the shots he's taken every Saturday.
3rd and 1. They lower the shoulder, and it looks like they picked up the first down. They did. Hulick with the stop.
That's a really good run right there. Understanding the football situation, knowing where the sticks are. So much of football is about your football IQ, your intelligence. And when you don't get the game reps sometimes, especially at the tailback position, you may want to cut back, make something out of nothing. For him to understand where to get the first down, you have to be happy if you're the running back coach, Kenneth Pope for Iowa State.
Little play action. Arnaud, far sideline, lofts it and nearly intercepted as In on that stop was Stephen Harrison as he deflected it, but it looked like Arnaud had a man open.
Yeah, and there's three types of throws as a quarterback. They're called trajectory 1, 2, and 3. 1 is on a line. 2 is somewhat intermediate, and 3 is what you see right here. It kind of lofted it too much. When you're throwing it to those big guys, like your tight ends and your backs, you got to put it on them. Make an easy catch for them. Get it there as fast as possible. They don't want to be thinking too much. They probably have a difficult time thinking a ton as it is. Give them the rock and let them make a play.
That was Catlett, the tight end, a 2-year starter for Iowa State, the intended receiver. Schwartz across midfield, and this will bring up another 3rd down.
3rd down efficiency. Right now, if you look at this Iowa State offense as a whole on the season, that is where they need to improve the most. Their 3rd down conversion rate has been poor, and they've not made any mistake about it. But it's not all about 3rd down. It's what do you do on 1st and 2nd down to put yourself in those situations.
That was Abana on the tackle. So here we go, 3rd down and 7, under 5.5 to play in our first half. Arnaud fires, has a man, and a 1st down for the Cyclones.
That's a great job of reading the coverage. And what happened on that play? Kansas State is playing a coverage that they call cover 6. What does cover 6 mean? It means they're going to split the field in half. The bottom half of your screen right here is going to be playing half coverage. And what does that mean? The corner is going to be in the flat. The safety will be over the top. The area you're seeing right there is essentially man-to-man. The quarterback recognized it and delivered a strike.
There's Williams with the catch, and now Arnaud is brought down by Tyson Hartman, his 3rd tackle this afternoon, as they went with the no huddle there and sped it up.
You can see Arnaud, he's finding his rhythm. He's got his juice. He feels he's in command of this football game. And when you're a quarterback who harbors plays like this youngster does, you need to continually making positive plays, positive yardage, and then before you know it, you could be playing out of your mind by the end of the football game.
Iowa State over 100 yards rushing on the day. Arnaud tucks it, he'll run. Avoids a couple of tackles and finally brought down. How about how athletic he is as he picks up another 1st down for the Cyclones.
He is an incredible athlete. You have to be very excited about this guy. And we talked about it earlier. He wanted to be a Cyclone forever. He committed for his junior year because he could do things like this, and he knew the offense, whoever was the coach and the coordinator, would allow him to play to his strengths. And right now, Tom Herman is on point with what his player is feeling and the plays that he wants called.
Arnaud to throw again. Play action. Wide open. Touchdown. Cyclones. The tight end, Derek Catlett, with the touchdown reception.
That's a great job by the quarterback. When you recognize defenses and you find seams, you've got to call plays accordingly. And this right now, they see that it's single high. It means there's one safety deep. That means there's going to be a lane right down the hash, and that's exactly where that was. A great throw and catch, touchdown, and now all of a sudden, Iowa State on top with the PAT.
Their first lead, it's 10-7, the Cyclones. At one point, it looked like they were going to be trailing 14-0. My, how things have changed. Arnaud and the offense. Impressive for the Cyclones. Catlett, the tight end with the reception. And all of a sudden, Iowa State on Fox College Sports, they lead it 10-7.
Iowa State trying to get a little taste on that tackle. They're excited, and that sideline is going off right now with enthusiasm. Exactly how Paul Rose and the staff wants it to go.
A.J. Klein with the stop, the scoring drive. There it is, just under 4 minutes. Catlett, the 22-yard touchdown reception. 3:49 to go in our first half. Iowa State leads it 10-7. Iowa State with wins over North Dakota State, Kent State, and Army. Their only loss was 35-3 to a very good Iowa team. Snap was low, and a short pickup on the play by Daniel Thomas. And on the stop was Fred Garin. Garin, the 6'1 senior. 28 tackles and 2 forced fumbles this season. He's had 3 tackles for a loss, so Garin has the stop.
And if you're defensive coordinator Wally Burnham right now, you want to slow this offense at Kansas State down with only about 3:20 left in the first half. Put them in position to kick the field goal. You know they're going to move the football, and let him try it. But also, see if he pressures right now to throw a little wrinkle in the quarterback.
Gregory to the sideline. The catch is caught by Lamarck Brown, the junior out of Hazelwood, Missouri, his second catch. And you talked about it. From Hazelwood, Missouri, in a very good Hazelwood West program, which is considered one of the better programs in the city of St. Louis.
Yeah, he's done a nice job of adapting to the defense and understanding what they want him to do every snap. When you're a defensive player, you have an assignment every snap, and it's traditionally a gap. You're responsible for that 3 to 5 yards on the football field, and if you don't fill it, big plays happen.
3rd and 3. May have been movement, but no flag. Gregory will run for it now, throws over the middle, and the catch made at midfield. Well, that's a good job by Gregory to find time. Trail Snipes, the wide receiver out of Rainier Beach in Washington.
It's a great job of this quarterback keeping his eyes up. When you go to a Trail Snipes, he's one of the best stories I've heard about all year. In high school, he was raised essentially by himself. His mom got sick. His dad wasn't in the picture. She had diabetes. He stayed alone and moved from homeless shelter to homeless shelter for 2 seasons. And in fact, his position coach when he was at Rainier was Rick Neuheisel of UCLA. Always good to see him making plays.
And a whistle before the snap. And that'll be a false start against Kansas State.
10 penalties last week in their game. So they know they need to work on it. It's undisciplined football, and there is nothing that upsets Coach Snyder more than playing undisciplined football.
Or any coach, for that matter. But that's their 32nd penalty against them, and this being their 5th game of the season. Under 2 minutes to go in our first half. 1st and 15 now for Kansas State. They'll swing it out. This is Thomas. Fans wanted a penalty on an illegal block. They're not going to get it. Thomas across the 40 and tackled and eventually brought down at the 37 by Jesse Smith.
Something to keep in mind right now. Kansas State only has 1 timeout. You want to save that in case you want to kick a field goal. See the play right here, a swing pass. That's not an easy pass for a quarterback because you want to put it on his front shoulder so he can catch it and run with it right there. A nice job by Gregory in this first half of managing this offense.
Do you think that was a hold by Banks?
As a receiver, you never hold, right?
Gregory play action. Feels the pressure. Now he'll run. Gets out of bounds. And they're short of the first down. So here we go again. Another 3rd down and about 3 for Kansas State. Leonard Johnson, the sophomore, in on the stop. He was a freshman All-American. He's got 19 tackles through the first 4 games here in 09.
Traditionally, if you're Kansas State, if your normal starting quarterback Kaufman's in, I bet you run the football. But here, I wouldn't be shocked if they threw it right now. As we are under a minute in the first half with only 1 timeout left.
On 3rd and 3, Gregory lofts it to the sideline and flags on the play.
Yeah, that's Fred Guerin right there on a push.
Pass intended for Daniel Thomas.
Coach Rhodes is trying to get an uncatchable football call. Need to see what the officials come up with. It's the right call in terms of pass interference, but it looks as though that ball was, well, as we get a replay here, about 5 yards out of bounds on that throw. Coach Rhodes is not happy right now, and neither are these Cyclone faithful.
So 1st and 10 on the 23. Drive continues with 51 seconds to go. Kansas State trailing by 3. Gregory, a little shovel pass. Not a dangerous play there.
I'll tell you, when you look at the shovel pass in their history, in the last 2 games they had UCLA and Tennessee Tech, these were big-time plays, these shovel passes inside. And I guarantee you, defensively, they looked at that play and said, we may get beat this game, but it's not going to be with the shovel pass. And right there, it was sniffed out easily by that defense of Iowa State.
Patrick Neal with the stop, under 30 seconds to go. Now Kansas State does have one timeout left.
That's a great job by the defensive coordinator, bringing pressure off the edge. Number 22, Terrain Benton. He plays corner, he plays nickel. He's a guy they like to utilize in various situations. Came flying off the edge.
You got 3rd down and 10 here. You have one more shot if you'd like to pick up the first down or go for the end zone and get yourself maybe a little bit better field position depending on how you want to kick this. Now, you talked about it, kicking game for Kansas State, a little bit of a question mark.
Yeah, right now it's going to be about a 40-yard field goal from the right half. Hasn't had a ton of success, obviously 1 for 6 on the season. And Cherry, their field goal kicker.
And timeout taken by Gregory. He wants a timeout. He's been calling for the timeout for the better part of the last 5 seconds or so.
Now, Paul Rhodes, he lets his defensive coordinator and defensive staff make all the calls. But right now, this is why you get paid to be the head coach. These moments, these critical downs. So he's talking to his defensive line coach, Curtis Bray, who I got to play for a Pitt. He's letting those guys up front know, get after this quarterback, get your hands up. And if you're on the other side of the football right now, in this situation, you go one of 2 ways. You take a shot to get the first down, or you try to just get half of it. But either way, you're going to have to throw the football right there, because with 18 seconds left, the play will probably bring you down to 12, 11, 10. To rush your hurry-up field goal team out on the field, you want about 13 seconds. And right now, they're going to be cutting it very close. And if I'm a coach and my kicker hasn't played well, I do not want him running out there and not having the time to properly set up to kick a very important field goal before the half.
Kansas State, no timeouts remaining here in the first half. This has been a highly entertaining first half of play here at Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City. 3rd and 10 for the Wildcats. Gregory in trouble, has to let it fly. He does to the sideline. And there is 10 seconds to go. I'll tell you what, Gregory did a nice job just to make sure that he got rid of it. Found a halfway open receiver and put it over his head so they at least had the chance of the field goal.
Yeah, there's one rule in quarterback play when you get in the red zone, and it's no sacks.
Yeah.
Do not get sacked. And there's a great job up front by that Iowa State defensive line. Curtis Bray, give him all the credit in the world of revving the boys up in the timeout there. We get set for this field goal.
This will be a 40-yard field goal. Kick is up, and it is good. Just snuck in. A 40-yarder with 5 seconds to go in our first half, and that ties it up at 10-10.
Wow, and I'll tell you, the good thing about that is kickers always get slack when they miss field goals, because every teammate is saying, what else do you do, man? You're supposed to just kick field goals. Do your job. Well, it's not the easiest thing in the world, and when you're working with a new holder, as this kicker is this season, you have to get used to that, and there is an adjustment period. And when things go bad as a kicker, it's kind of like a jump shooter. When things go bad, you just keep missing sometimes, but you have to keep shooting. And with a kicker, he's obviously been struggling, but you got to keep kicking and kick your way through it.
So Josh Cherry, the 40-yard field goal with 5 seconds remaining, and that ties it up here, 10-10. 10 plays on the drive, 48 yards, and it took 3 minutes and 44 seconds.
Back deep for the Cyclones, David Sims and Jeremiah Schwartz.
Schwartz and Sims back deep to receive for Iowa State. Also back there, it's Leonard Johnson. Little hesitation, and that'll do it. The first half comes to a close, and Schwartz with the return. Hartman with the tackle. So after the first half of play, it is 10-all. Let's check in with Sam.
Coach, they threw Gregory at you. Were you prepared for this guy at all, or did you think you were going against Kaufman?
No, we thought we might see Gregory. We know, and the reason being, Wally Burnham and he were together at South Florida, and he's got a better feel for our defense, and he's better at running the football, and he's obviously showed that in the first half.
Coach, Arnaud was struggling a little bit, but you kept going to him. Do you have to show that confidence in him to win this game?
Well, I think all players got to play their way into confidence, and Austin's no different than anybody else. He's our quarterback, and he's here for 60 minutes.
All right, good luck, Coach. Thanks.
All right, Sam, good job. Thanks. And the first half is upon us, and now done with it. And it's been entertaining. Halftime here in Kansas City. Kansas State 10, Iowa State 10. More to come on Fox College Sports.
Serves in our armed force.
It's a short kick, fielded at the 11. Uh-oh, watch out here. Nice tackle, as Banks was tackled by Michael O'Connell, a backup defensive back at times in his career for Iowa State.
Coach, you're moving the ball down the field. What's it going to take to finish these drives?
I'm not sure I know. You know, it's going to take a better effort once we get down there and not turning the ball over. You know, we got it down in there and fumble it. We had a short yardage play, didn't make it. We just have to do better.
The speech you just gave him in there, have you given him that one before?
Yeah, I've been coaching for 47 years or something like that, so I'm sure I've been repetitive a number of times.
What did you tell him?
Told him we need to play harder, more aggressively, and with greater spirit.
All right, thanks, Coach. Good luck.
There's James Smith in on the tackle. Thank you, Sam, and our thanks to both coaches for being very accommodating throughout the weekend again here today. So Kansas State has it. Gregory leading this offense of the Wildcats. 10-10, and a big pickup of 9 yards in that first play. It's 2nd and 1 as the fans find their way back to their seats. Gregory swings it to Banks. Banks the first down and ahead of steam. Doesn't take him long to get to that big acceleration.
And they call that play, that's a bubble screen. And when you throw it as a staff, you think that's just another way to run a toss or a run outside. It's on your quarterback, though, to make the throw. And thus far, he's been 2 for 2, the quarterback Gregory, in terms of putting that football on the front shoulder of the receiver. And when he catches it right there, it's easy for him to then turn downfield, get ahead of steam, and put his head down, and away he goes for the first down.
There you see the team leaders, Gregory, Thomas, and Brown, offensively for Kansas State in that first half. This time they'll hand it off. And on the tackle was David Sims, and that was Thomas with the carry. And he picks up 6 on the play.
That's a really good job by a guy we haven't mentioned today. Probably doesn't get a lot of love. 75 Clyde Offshore, the right tackle, 6'7", redshirt sophomore out of Missouri. And he's a guy who has a huge frame. He's put on weight, developed his body under Coach Kent and Honeycutt in that strength program. And when you're pulling offensive linemen, you have the ability to get your hands on linebackers that don't see you coming. And that's exactly what happened.
So we're just underway in our second half of play. Kansas State, the first possession, now driving. Gregory to throw and going nowhere. They lost yardage on that play, and Sims was all over it. He wasn't fooled one bit.
Sims right there on that play. His job as an outside backer type defender in that area is either to support the run, as he's done this afternoon, or stop this pass. And thus far, he got beat twice already. He said, I'm not going to get beat a third time. Made a good read and was all over the receiver. And now we've got 3rd down. Money down for this defense as the crowd is on their feet.
Third and 7. Gregory flushed from the pocket, rolling to his right. Now throws. Looking deep and nearly picked off. Incomplete. The intended receiver was Lamar Brown.
This is a great job up front by Iowa State. They are not bigger than the front 5 of Kansas State. They are just playing with more effort right now and making this quarterback get out of the pocket. Now, to his credit, he's keeping his eyes downfield, which allows him to have the opportunity for big plays. But a good job of staying on top of the eligible receivers by the secondary of Iowa State there.
So 4th down and 7. Josh Lenz, 5'11", back to receive, lets it go into the end zone, and Iowa State will have it 1st and 10 on their 20.
When play resumes, the Cyclones will have the football on their own 20-yard line.
So look at the team leaders for Iowa State. Austin Arnaud, 6 of 12, but so many big runs. Alexander Robinson only 47 yards rushing on, and I say only because of the groin injury on 4 carries, and then Schwartz, the backup, is filling in, and Robinson looks like his afternoon is through. He's again on the sideline. This is Schwartz. Well, Kansas State looked like they had something going. All of a sudden, if you're the defensive coordinator for the Cyclones, you have to be very pleased how your defense stepped up.
Yeah, he's done a really nice job in Wally Burnham. When you look at what guys do at halftime, coordinators, they make 1 or 2 adjustments. They don't have to make a million of them, but every so often, that 1 or 2 slight adjustment, that difference in alignment can allow you to do well. And Wally Burnham is a guy we're going to hear about later from Samantha, but a guy who's done very well in his career as a defensive coach.
Arnaud hands it off again. Maybe a pickup of a yard or 2. Pyle still going, and now the whistle is blown. So Schwartz 2 carries in a row, and it's 3rd down and 4 for the Cyclones. The stop made by Valentine.
3rd down and 3 for the 27-yard line.
Coaches always talk about that first possession in the 3rd quarter. Set the tempo, get in your rhythm, get going, and you get good feel for the game because you just came out from a halftime. You're feeling good about yourself. You make your adjustments. How do you do? And offensive coordinators traditionally strip the first few plays they want to call to start that 3rd quarter drive.
Play action. Arnaud and a flag on the play, pass interference.
And that's a good call right there. Remember, they ran that exact same play in the 1st quarter, and the quarterback Arnaud had a horrible throw, really, to the tight end. Right there, he puts the throw on him, gets hit right before he catches it, and there's a PI.
Automatic. 1st down.
So Hartman,
1st and 10 Cyclones.
Pass interference as he was looking for the tight end. And it's 1st and 10 now for Iowa State. And here's a look at it.
You see him right there. He's putting the ball on his shoulder. He gets hit right before he's about to make the catch. That's a good call.
Pretty easy call.
Yes, it was.
It's the tight end again across the 40. That's Derek Catlett, who had the touchdown reception of 22 yards in the 1st half. And Yogi, you had a real interesting little feature that you put together with Sam as Moore was in on the coverage. But watching Arnaud here and getting the calls from the sideline and then getting everybody on the same page.
Yeah, he's done a really nice job of being aggressive as the signal caller, getting the play, letting everyone know that you're in control. Because the difference between now, if you're in the huddle telling the boys to play, and out there when everyone's spread out, you have to really be confident, understand every element of the play call.
Schwartz sidestep tackler and brings it out to the 45. But the amazing thing is when you're changing plays like that is to try to get everybody on the same page. It's not just your specialty guys and your receiver and your running back, but the snap count and your offense. I mean, that's a hard thing to do.
It's very hard. And then you have to know the defense, they really get to, quote-unquote, have the chalk last. They can move around at the end, stem their defensive front, drop a guy into the box, whatever it may be. So it's a relative guessing game, but always educated.
How about that throw on the touch? Right over the defender and then into the hands of Marquise Hamilton. And Hamilton leads her team prior to today with nearly 300 yards and 2 touchdowns this season.
When you're a quarterback and you have to look at the sideline every snap, when you make a bad play, you don't really want to look over that. When you make a good play, you're over there fast. Give me the next play. Let me see the next call. That's exactly what Arnaud did after that completion right there.
Right over the outstretched arms of Butler. I guess the guy that does it just ad nauseum is Peyton Manning. I mean, he's unbelievable what he does.
He's got command at the line of scrimmage, and you need to have that.
Arnaud looking deep. Had a man. Did he underthrow him? Now he overthrows him. He had him and then lost him just by a step. And again, he was looking for Hamilton.
He hesitated a little bit. He kind of wanted to throw it, checked again, and then threw it, and finally kind of let it go. And as a quarterback, while it wasn't a completion, you love that because it stretches the defense. So right now, Kansas State, they're getting the ball moved on them a little bit, and that means they're going to stack people more down near the line of scrimmage. So you have to take a shot like that just to keep those safeties honest.
Arnaud, 3,193 yards of total offense in 08. Second, Iowa State's single season total offense chart. Schwartz to the 25. Tackled by David Garrett.
You like that run because it's a patient run. Sometimes when running backs, all of a sudden, they're in the football game, they want to get it and go. You see right there, Schwartz, be patient, set up his blocks, protect the football, and get down.
And quickly, Arnaud to his left, a flag on the play, lowers his shoulder, and we may have a hold on the wide receiver to the far sideline. Tackle by Butler. Let's hear our referee, Scott Novak, what he has to say. We've seen that Iowa State a few times has done that, where they've had a big play and then hurried up the offense with no huddle.
Offside on the defense, number 5. 5-yard penalty, first down.
That's not what I was expecting. Were you?
Not at all. This is a new defensive front, and when they have to continue to gel, and there's certain things where they think they may be getting off on the snap count. And remember, when you're in the spread and the shotgun, there is no consistent snap count. So what you have timed out throughout the week by watching film is a second and a half from when he lifts his leg. It may alter by a half a second here or there, and that can cause a few offsides calls.
You've seen Schwartz now over 50 yards. Arnaud will keep it. Look at this, to the outside, Arnaud.
And he is excited. Something you have to remember on all these quarterback draws, it's not your traditional quarterback draw that you and I like to run, back in high school when we were playing ball early on. He gets a lead blocker. You can see Schwartz he's his personal escort, if you will, into that hole as he drops his shoulder for the block.
And now it's Schwartz losing his helmet for the second time as he brings it inside the 5. And on the tackle is Jeffrey Fitzgerald, the young man, sophomore out of Liberty, Missouri. Second down and goal. Just pounding the football again, Schwartz. And this will be a third down and goal. And on the tackle is Daniel Calvin, 310 pounds up front, senior out of Bakersfield, California.
This offensive front for Iowa State is gaining confidence every single snap as they are kind of taking a play out of the Kansas State playbook here and pounding the football.
Option. Arnaud keeps it. Touchdown, Iowa State.
That's a great job up front, and you got to give all the credit to Bill Blyle, the offensive line coach for Iowa State. He was Paul Rhodes' first hire, his best friend. They worked together at Pitt. They've known each other for years, and that offensive front is finally coming together because they are young and relatively inexperienced.
3-yard touchdown run. Arnaud, 12 plays, 80 yards, nearly 5 minutes. Iowa State on top.
Something's not right.
Is back deep to receive. Number 83 back there is a jet.
And a nice drive right there. But this is an area right now in this ball game where if you kick it to you know who back there, and he has a chance to change the complexion of this game in an instant. He called himself electrifying, sub 4-3, and I know he wants the ball right here.
He's going to get a chance Takes it at the 5. To the 20, looking for a seam. To the outside he goes. The ball is loose. Iowa State says they have it. And Kansas State football.
Oh, okay.
Well, Sam is downstairs with a special guest. Sam.
Very special guest. I'm here with Cecil Rhodes, Paul Rhodes' father and mentor. Now, I know you're in the Iowa High School Coaches Hall of Fame. What's it like seeing your son as a head coach?
Well, it's just absolutely great. Of course, being in the Hall of Fame doesn't make any difference to him because he's on his own now.
Well, what's it like for you when you see your son get pretty fired up out here? Did you teach him that?
Well, I'm just real excited for him, and I feel the same way that he's reacting.
Now, your grandkids had a game last night, right? Did you get to check that out?
Excuse me?
Did your grandkids have a game last night? Did you get to check it out?
No, my wife has Alzheimer's, and I was home, so I didn't go to any ball games last night.
Well, I know you were fired up about that last touchdown, so we'll let you get back to the game. Thanks.
Hey, that was a great drive we just had.
It sure was. Back up to you guys.
Okay, we just saw a big hit, and now Gregory trying to lead this offense to answer the touchdown by Iowa State under 7 minutes to go here in our third quarter of play.
I'll tell you what, Cecil Rhodes is an incredible guy. I got to see him for years when he was at Pitt. He was at practice, at games, and you couldn't ask for a better mentor or a father if you're Paul Rhodes.
Gregory the carry, and shy of that first down marker, so 3rd and 3 we'll call it, as the tackle was down by the nose guard, Bailey Johnson, 6'2", 267, the junior. There's a look at the scoring drive for Iowa State. Big 3rd down here.
Wally Burnham, let's not forget, he saw this quarterback a lot at South Florida when he was there. He may have a few things that he knows about this guy that traditional defense coordinators may not on this 3rd down.
Gregory underneath, first down as he hits his big target, the tight end. They have got 2 or 3 tight ends that are listed at 6'5" or bigger, and mastered there with the catch, the hit by Kennard Banks, the cornerback, but they have one tight end that travels 6'8", 260.
It's an intimidating position group, that's for sure. When you look at Mastert, he's not only the captain, but he's an academic All-American. He's on the Student Athlete Advisory Board. He's got a 3.8. He's played every game in his career. I mean, this is the most dependable and accountable player on Kansas State's roster.
Gregory 10 of 14, 107. And the tight end is 6'6", nearly 260 pounds. Gregory, the option, going nowhere, spins, looking for something to do here. Now a flag on the play. Lowers his shoulder, and good job by the pursuit here of Iowa State. Tackled by Kennard Banks. That flag is resting near the 44-yard line, near the Iowa State sideline. I believe that's against Zach Kendall, Jr. out of Missouri.
And Kansas State only 2 penalties in that first half, but this is a big one, and especially when you're in a situation right now with about 5 minutes, 23 seconds left in this 3rd quarter, and you have the ability to move the football on the ground. You don't need a penalty like this because you haven't had a ton of success throwing the ball in the air.
So 1st and 22 now. Swing it to Thomas. Gets a block. And a big pickup back near the original line of scrimmage, and it'll be a 2nd down and 8.
The past 2 games, their top plays offensively have been either the shovel pass, which Iowa State has sniffed out thus far, and it's probably off the call sheet right now through Kansas State, but also the screen game. They've done a nice job this season. That's a difficult play to teach your offensive line because they have targets and they're running, and for guys that are over 300 pounds and big individuals like they are, to get their hands on a moving target is difficult, but Kansas State has done very well in that department, especially on that last play.
There's the shovel pass that you talked about. Thomas across the 45, short of the first down. It'll be 3rd down and 4 coming up for the Wildcats. They're just keeping it really simple in their passing game, obviously.
Yeah, and they have to. I mean, while this is the backup quarterback and he's in all the meetings and he gets the reps in training camp, but it's during the season, you have your 60 plays, your 80 plays in your game plan that you only get to run 2 to 3 times a week. And if you're splitting in between 2 quarterbacks, he's not going to see it against every look. So right now, as the quarterback, you got to somewhat cut down your game plan, and that's what they've done this afternoon in the passing game.
Gregory spinning. Throws to the sideline, and it's incomplete. No catch.
This defensive line, led by Curtis Bray. Let me give you a little history on Curtis Bray, the defensive line coach of Iowa State. He was a Gatorade Player of the Year coming out of high school in Pittsburgh, a dominant defensive lineman at Pitt. And right now he has these guys fired up as he meets him on the sideline. And Coach Rhodes couldn't be more excited. Remember, third down to him is his money down. Get off the field. And they've had success doing that thus far.
Lynn's back deep for Iowa State. He had a 44-yard return against Army. Calls for the fair catch here and makes the catch at the 18-yard line. Applauding his defense, applauding his special teams. Iowa State leads it by 7. They have the football when we come back on Fox College Sports.
Let's go, let's go.
Last year we had UConn in that, Wisconsin, San Diego, Miami, all at that time were top 25. That was a fielder for the Wildcats. So brings up a 2nd and 8 with 3:30 to play in the third quarter. And the number to call to get FCS, Fox College Sports, 1-877-2-GET-FCS or foxcollegesports.com. Arnaud will run across the 20, sliding at the 24-yard line. Sam, what do you have for us?
Guys, as always, we want to check in with our Twitteronians out there. And little Scotty wants to know, does having a coach who gets fired up inspire the players to play better? I'm thinking we've got two pretty different examples of coaching styles out here today. Coach Snyder even said this week, told us in our press conference, that he's not a football junkie. So does it make a big difference, guys?
Yogi, I'll defer to you. I would say this, though. It can't be done all the time. Else it wears out.
I think there's a variety of ways to skin a cat, and there's your successful coaches that have a ton of energy, and Pete Carroll and Paul Rhodes, and you've got your more cerebral coaches. As we got a fumble after the completion right there, looks like Kansas State has it.
Hartman there, and he has the football for the Wildcats.
And I'll tell you what, while Paul Rhodes isn't excited right now and Coach Snyder's not jumping around, I'm sure inside he's saying, all right, we got a chance. The ball's in the fringe. So to get back to the Twitteronians, yeah, excitement does make a difference, but it comes in a variety of shapes and sizes.
So Catlett had the reception, and then helmet on ball, David Garrett causing the fumble, the sophomore from Cleveland, Ohio. A huge turnover against Iowa State. By the way, that snaps 3 straight scoring drives for the Cyclones. Good field position now for Kansas State. This is the Wildcat. And they'll pick up 3 on the play. That's Daniel Thomas, their tailback, but lines up in the Wildcats. Jesse Smith with the stop. He's closing in on 10 tackles. And Guerin also in there.
Unnecessary. 15 yards from the end of the run. First down.
That goes against James Smith, the free safety. And he's a senior. That's not supposed to happen.
No, it's not. And just like that, in this third quarter, we've seen 2 personal fouls, one against each team. Really hurt the respective team who gets that penalty called on them. And right now, you go from being in the fringe, which is around the 40, to now you're inside the 20 in the red zone, threatening to score, and it's only a 1-touchdown game.
Wildcat again, Thomas. There's Smith and O'Connell in there.
So Thomas last week you know, had a great game. Very excited about the things that he does. But remember, he was a JC quarterback. So when you're watching him run the football, he doesn't look like your traditional back. He runs a little high, but he makes plays and has incredible vision. He's an athlete. A lot of times your quarterback is one of the better athletes because he handles the football on every snap. And I'm sure when they went into halftime, they said, we need to get the ball in our playmakers' hands more. And that's number 8.
Showing blitz, but Thomas going the other way. Cuts it up. Very close to a first down if he didn't pick it up. Jesse Smith with the stop.
You talk to Coach Snyder, and every play they design in this offense goes through this guy in one way or another. Whether it's as a decoy, as the quarterback, as the tailback, whatever it is, he's involved. And when you become a team like Kansas State, you got to get the ball in those playmakers' hands, whether it's him or whether it's one of your wideouts such as Banks. You got to get the ball in their hands so they have the ability to score every time they touch it.
3rd and 1. Gregory diving forward.
That's a great
That's going to be
job.
very, very close. I'm going to say that he got the first down. Not even bring out the change, so it'll be 1st and goal with under a minute to play now for Kansas State here in the 3rd quarter.
The big thing on quarterback sneaks is you never want to just get the ball and go. You want to get it, find your gap, take a step back, they call it a rocker step, and then find that area and fall forward for the first down.
We'll put a man in motion. Extra blocker back there. Thomas gets it. Brought down. Good job defensively by Iowa State. There's Fred Guerin, a 3-year starter at linebacker for the Cyclones.
2nd and goal from the 7-yard line.
Out of Texas, he is an impressive player, and watch him shoot his gap right there. That's what they call it, shooting your gap. Get to the area you're responsible for as fast as you possibly can and meet the offensive player in the backfield. And it's a great job for the senior out of Shepherd, Texas.
And that's it. 3 quarters in the books. Kansas State trying to pound it in and tie this ball game up. Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City, 17-10. It's the Big 12 on Fox College Sports. In that game. This another one, a tight one against Kansas State. 2nd down and goal as Iowa State leads it. See red zone offense for the Wildcats thus far. Thomas in the backfield along with Gregory. Gregory keeps it to the outside, tucks it up. A flag on the play. Gregory wanted to have a face mask called.
Holding on the offense, number 67, 10-yard penalty, 2nd down.
When you look at this Kansas State offense, you don't want to be the almost genie, but you can almost predict what's going to happen when they get in the red zone, and they continue to shoot themselves in the foot. All season long, they haven't finished drives. They put their field goal kicker, who's average, in these difficult situations of kicking field goals, and he hasn't succeeded. And this has been their MO. Against UCLA, it's exactly why they lost the football game. They got in their territory 6 times, couldn't score.
This is where you have to score. I mean, you've got to put points up on the board here.
You're exactly right. And when you look at games, and you can look at the NFL as an example, there's always a couple plays here and there that decide a game. And this is turning into an NFL-type game. It's 17-10. Both teams are running the football very consistently, and it's going to be a play here or there that is going to decide the outcome.
Gregory sets up the screen. Banks, and they sniff it out. Boy, that's a good play. Lyle, the senior, has 20 tackles, 2 sacks, and 1 fumble recovery this season. Made the play on the speedster Banks.
That's a great job. Out of Butler Community College, he is a coach's dream right now. When you're talking to their defensive coach, whether it's Curtis Bray or Wally Burnham, they love this guy. He's consistent, played a lot of football. He got 20 tackles thus far in the season heading into this game. And a play like that where you can chase the screen down from behind is demoralizing because you're up in the booth watching it develop and you say, we got a chance. And all of a sudden, he comes out of nowhere and makes a play.
On 3rd and 16, Gregory, all kinds of time. I mean, all kinds of time. Now to the corner. Touchdown, Kansas State!
Wildcats!
How about that? The protection up front, and Kansas State with Lamarck Brown from Gregory has a chance now with the extra point to tie it up.
Lamarck Brown, we talked about him earlier. He is a physical freak, and right now as a quarterback, These coordinators spend hours and hours drawing up plays. They don't draw up this, but it's called the scramble drill. And you do it all the time. You do it probably 3 times a week. And right there, as he scrambled a little bit, had a little time, his eyes are downfield like he's been all afternoon, and finds big old Lamar Brown for a touchdown.
So cheering on for the extra point to tie it up. And with 13:45 to go, Kansas State 17, Iowa State 17. And a good one here on Fox College Sports, the Big 12 Conference. 17 all here in the fourth. Arrowhead in Kansas City.
It's a great environment for college football right now. That's something you want to look at here as we're into the fourth quarter, 13:45 left, all knotted up at 17. Is both of these teams offensively have taken a lot of time with their drives, and before you know it, they're each going to get it back at least one more time, but you have to wonder, what are they going to do offensively in terms of time of possession right now?
Johnson and Sims back. This will be Johnson. Across the 25 to the outside he goes. Good field position here now for Iowa State. Johnson, an outstanding return for the Cyclones.
That is an aggressive return. Remember, he was a freshman All-American. 319 just kickoff returns last year versus Oklahoma State, and he attacked that very aggressively in the return game to set up field position on the 42-yard line here for the Cyclones.
And that 319 against Oklahoma State, that set the NCAA mark when he did that. So 1st and 10, you might want to think about kicking away from him.
Good returners all around today.
Iowa State, the ball at the 42, 1st and 10, tied up at 17. Schwartz gets the carry and brought down near that first down marker across midfield. The tackle on the play by Joshua Moore of the Wildcats.
That's a good play call right there. What it does, it allows the tailback Schwartz to get behind his big offensive lineman. They pull the backside guard, and he got right behind him and followed him for a good 9-yard gain.
Arnaud keeps it himself. Gets the first down. Tackled at the 45. If you're wondering about Kansas State and Big 12 openers, they're 5-8 in those openers since the conference formed back in 1996. And against the Big 12 North, they are 41-24. Second best record, trailing only Nebraska.
The fun element of this game is going to be conditioning. And knowing the strength staff at Kansas State, they have these guys teed up. And Iowa State, with their offense, they don't huddle very often. So the boys are always going to have a little bit of energy, more than you traditionally would up front at least.
Arnaud looking across the middle, and it's almost picked off. Deflected by Hartman, the defensive back. He goes 6'3", 207 out of Wichita, Kansas. There's been some great players recently in high school come out of Wichita.
Yeah, there is. And Hartman, a very interesting guy. Last year, he started as a quarterback, and then he got switched over to defense, started the last 8 games, and has done very well. He watches a ton of film. He grew up around the corner, loves Arrowhead Stadium, and to make a play like that here this late in the ball game, he definitely has to fire him up as the leader of that secondary.
Big kid, too, over 6'2", around 6'3", and a tackle and a loss on a play. Big number 99, Daniel Calvin. He's 6'3", 310 as he went through the middle, the senior out of Bakersfield, California.
Yeah, and he had 3 tackles last week versus Tennessee Tech, and they said he's finally in game shape. And for the big guys up front, you need to be for moments like this late in the game when they need penetration into the backfield, as you just saw.
3rd and 13. Arnaud takes off. He lost the football. Kansas State has it.
Protect the football. That is the mantra, I promise you, of every school in the country. It is about the football. When you're a quarterback, you have to, when you decide to run, tuck the ball away, especially when it's in between the hashes, as it was just there. This team learned an example of how important the football is against Army. They learned if we protect the football, which when they played Army was the first time they did not turn it over, they'll win the game and win it, soundly. Right now, as they were moving the football, even if they didn't convert on that third down, a punt would have pinned Kansas State deep in their own territory, and now Kansas State is on the move with the ball right around the 40-yard line.
At the 42, 1st and 10, Gregory. Deep pass, underthrew his man, and they turn it right back over. Intercepted for the Cyclones. Boy, how big is that? Bernard Banks, the senior, that's his first interception this season.
And I'll tell you what, when you look at what happened to him against Army, he lost a big jump ball in the end zone, was not happy, was not proud of the way that he played, and to come back and make a play like this, in this type of game, where the score knotted up, your quarterback just fumbled, he did exactly what Paul Rhodes wanted him to do, which is get us the football and give our offense another chance and do it with great passion and energy. And the sideline is obviously going crazy, and the stands are on their feet.
Kansas State has had very good success at running the football. Yogi, and it would seem like that was a little bit surprising. Maybe just trying to catch Iowa State off guard with the momentum that they had. Schwartz picks up maybe 2 on the play.
You'll see a lot of coordinators, whenever a turnover happens, they try to take a shot. Now, usually it happens in the fringe. Remember when I said, where's the fringe? It's right around the plus 40 going in for a score. They were on their own 40. Traditionally, you don't see that type of call, but it's a way you can lull an opponent to sleep. With a quarterback who hasn't had a ton of game experience, you question it at times, but at the same time, if it's a ball is underthrown, as a wideout, you're taught, you become the DB. Knock it down, tackle, whatever you need to do, but not let that happen.
Stay on the ground with Schwartz, and he stays on his feet, but shy of the first down by a yard or 2. The tackle made by Moore. He's been busy today. Butler was in there as well.
3rd down and 2 from the 34.
So 3rd and 2 coming up.
You got to love the second effort here, because it's the difference between a 3rd and 5 and a 3rd and 2 right now. And for offensive coordinator Tom Herman, he loves that.
Arnaud to the air, deflected and incomplete.
I love the call. I don't love the quarterback right there. You got to catch it and throw it. Get rid of the football. You had a chance to deal to your receivers. Looks like we got an injury.
Well, that's the backup running back. Remember, their number 1 is already out. That's Schwartz. The deflection, by the way, that time was Joshua Moore. And Schwartz is on the ground right now, so they could ill afford to lose him. Be down to your 3rd string tailback, and that would be Bo Williams, who sat out last season after transferring from Florida. We'll step aside.
Someday he'll call her and she
flag and an easy call. Hartman came up to receive it, and he was hit by Benton, the defensive back and a sophomore out of Arlington, Texas. That's an easy one.
Yeah, you hate to see that penalty right there, especially as a coach.
Kick catch interference on a kicking team, number 22. 15 yards from the spot of the foul. First down.
44-yard punt, no return.
Let's check in with Sam.
Guys, we can't get out of this game without talking about the fans that have showed up to support their teams. These are 2 teams that have been kind of bottom of the barrel the last couple years, and yet they have incredible fan support and loyalty. Walking around on the sidelines, I keep getting asked question after question, what team are you going for? And I keep telling them I'm neutral, and they keep pushing it. Guys, when I asked these coaches what's special about these 2 schools, they both said the exact same thing. It's all about the people.
All right, thank you, Sam. Over 60,000 here today in Kansas City.
I'll tell you what, I wouldn't mind being on the sideline with you, Sam, right now, because it is energetic down there. It's electric, and I could see why they're on. You got the red jacket on. You know, they might think you're going for the Cyclones.
And that was Bailey Johnson along with Maggot in there for Iowa State.
Also, 1 on the play, 2nd and 11.
10 minutes left in this game, and Kansas State has had a few 9-minute drives this season thus far. We need to see what they decide to do philosophically from an offensive standpoint.
Brought down at the 25. Iowa State came flying in there. And that's Benton, who atones for the mistake on special teams.
That's a great job by him. He is their nickel defender. This is the second time he's come off the blitz, off the edge, and put pressure on the quarterback. Right there, you see him. And when you're a quarterback, you have to see everything, and you have to understand when blitzes are coming. But give the credit to the defensive coordinator, Wally Burnham, and disguising that all day. They kind of assumed that he was going to blitz. Sometimes they didn't. And right now, you see number 22, Benton, go in there, lay a hit on the quarterback.
3rd and 22. They'll set up a screen with blockers. Thomas lost the football, but that'll stay with Kansas State.
Pass.
Very short of that first down by about 12 yards or so. And the Wildcats will have to kick it away.
10-yard gain, 4th down.
They kind of a sloppy second half thus far. And it might be whoever has the ball last right now with 8:35 left, 17 apiece.
And the very dangerous Josh Limbs back to receive. And he's at his own 25 now, backing up to the 20. Fair catch called for, and he'll make it at the 18. So we've got 8:23 left on the clock. Iowa State 17 with the football. Kansas State 17 as we step aside on Fox College Sports.
Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for
do with the football offensively.
Well, you have to trust your scheme and all of your preparation, and both teams have had success running the football. They've hurt themselves with penalties thus far in the second half, utilized the quick passing game that their quarterbacks have had success with, but there is going to be a moment where they're going to be able to utilize the play-action pass and get behind that secondary. It's about calling it at the right time.
Arnaud wrestled down and thrown to the turf. It's Fitzgerald, who's 6'4", 280 pounds, out of Richmond, Virginia.
Late in the game, you don't want to tighten up and all of a sudden, well, it's tied up, it's 7.5 minutes left, let's call safe plays. Call it just like you did in the first half. If it's 0-0, first quarter, let your offense find their rhythm. This offense for Iowa State is based on rhythm. That's why they practice with a 25-second clock every day in practice over there at the university. They're doing the same thing, and they have to find that rhythm right now.
Arnaud to throw, and underthrows the intended receiver, so a quick 3 and out. They bring up 4th and 7. Darius Darks. And Thomas in on the coverage. Darks, the intended receiver. Brandner will kick it away.
Utilizing the relative spread punt here. Everybody always asks, why do you do that? Well, you do it to create spacing, because the further out these defenders are, the longer it takes for them to get to the quote-unquote block spot. And when you're spread out, you can't find it or get to it as quickly.
Hartman whistling for the fair catch. So pretty good field position here for Kansas State with 7:07 to go. Bill Snyder wanted to come back in coaching at the age of 69. There's got to be some butterflies, a little nervousness, excitement over there in that far sideline.
It's always exciting, whether there's 60,000 or just 6. Whenever it's late in the ball game, tied up, and you have the football, this is the moments you dream of as a player and calling plays as a coach.
This is Thomas. Brought down at the 44 back in 1989. Bill Snyder saw 13,000 folks, 13,000 come to his first game as he was trying to turn around the program at Kansas State.
We're talking to coaches around the country about his influence, and it's basically given all those smaller programs the ability to say, hey, we got a chance too. We can turn this around, whether it's Iowa State or South Florida, whatever school it is that doesn't have a ton of tradition. You can create it, and that's what he's done here.
Oh, quick snap. They weren't ready for it. At least the quarterback wasn't. He was ready to go up to the line of scrimmage and maybe change something.
The heads-up play by him by hanging on to the football. But if you're Iowa State, That's a great job because they get a chance now for all of a sudden to make a big stop here on a key 3rd down.
The Jet with the stop. Look at that, the snap to Gregory. He wasn't ready for it as they were going to pull the outside man. So key 3rd down. With the ball on the 45. Showing blitz. They pick it up. Spinning, Gregory out of trouble. Now looks over the middle. And this is caught. It's going to be a touchdown. Gregory to Banks. A remarkable touchdown for Kansas State.
We said in the open, you got to make 3 big plays if you're Kansas State. And right here, Gregory's been doing it all afternoon. When he is flush from the pocket, he's kept his eyes up. And when you keep your eyes up as a quarterback and get flush from the pocket, you have the ability to make big plays. And Banks, he called himself electrifying. And right there, the JC from Bakersfield, he was electrifying. And all the way from Bakersfield to his hometown in North Carolina, they are fired up.
Extra point is good. 5:36 to go. Kansas State back on top, 24-17. Watch this play as we head to a timeout. Spinning out of trouble, throwing on the run. Banks was there and turned it into 6. Back to receive. Cherry to kick it away for K-State.
You got to love Banks on that play. I mean, he is one of the 3 lightest players in all of FBS schools at 150 pounds. A dynamic little guy.
This will come to Sims. Sims. So they angled it to the sideline. Sims trying to sidestep there on the sideline. And now Iowa State, can they respond with 5:31 to play?
32-yard return.
The best
32-yard return.
The great thing about college football is that it's about emotion, right? It's a 3rd down. The Iowa State defense is about to get the football back. All of a sudden, Kansas State throws a dime for a touchdown. Then Iowa State has a return, up to the 36-yard line. It's such a game of emotion, and you have to, as the quarterback now, be even keel as you lead this offense.
Ball on the 36 for Iowa State. Arnaud across the 40 to the 41. Rebeck with the stop. That's his 8th tackle of the afternoon.
For Arnaud right now, with almost 5 minutes left in this ball game, you have to forget a few of the mistakes you've made thus far in the second half and come back and lead this team and be the commander that you were when things were going your way in the second quarter.
Big 3rd down. Schwartz may have lost a yard or 2, so it'll be a huge 3rd down. And that was Daniel Calvin, the 310-pound senior, in on the stop.
Right now, this is just a great job interiorly by that defensive line of Kansas State.
Arnaud to the sideline. His intended receiver slipped, and it's a 4th down upcoming. And quickly they have to punt and hope for a stop.
I like this call by Paul Rhodes of punting the football, but you also have to be wary that only 4:25 left. Kansas State can easily just run right down the field. But if you're the coordinator, you're on the headset, you're saying, Coach, we've stopped them thus far this second half. They haven't been able to pound the football with success. Punt the football, you'll get it back.
Hartman to receive for Kansas State. If you're wondering, both teams with 3 timeouts left. So on 4th and 5, they have to punt it away. Beautiful kick. Hartman is back inside his own 10.
They never really talk about punters, but right now that play was huge by Brantner. Coach Rhodes told me earlier this week he's an NFL leg. He really expects a lot of great things from punting directionally, hanging the ball up on pooch punts and situations like that.
So Kansas State comes in with a record of 2-2, and after today, they continue inside the Big 12 Conference at Texas Tech and then A&M, Colorado, Oklahoma, KU, Mizzou, Nebraska. But Texas Tech nearly knocked off Texas. They gave them a pretty good shot a couple of weekends ago. That's their next contest after today. Right now, just trying to take down some of that clock and get themselves a little breathing room, as Thomas will do that on the stop, Leonard Johnson.
And I promise you here, in the last 4 minutes of this ball game, you're going to say Thomas's name about 10 times, because they are not going to lose this game by giving it to anybody else. He is going to carry this team and be the leader that he is, as he's done thus far all afternoon.
So pickup of 8 on the play. Iowa State still stunned after that remarkable play by Gregory and Banks. Gregory will keep it. Dives ahead for the first down.
If you're a head coach right now, you're already looking at the clock. When do I need to call timeouts? How do I need to manage the clock right now? And as you're looking at the down and distance, that really plays a big role in it.
And Yogi, excuse me, they did not get the first down, so it's third and just short. Looks like where he dove ahead that he would get that first down, but they said his knee was down before the ball was ahead of that marker. Huge play here. And that time they do get the first down. Well, like you said, now, how do you manage these timeouts?
Well, they've done this already Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. They're prepared. And when you talk to Coach Rhodes, when they got this head coaching job, he took the entire month of July to go over special situations and when to use timeouts, when to go for it on third or fourth down. So he's well schooled in what to do here. And his offense and defensive staff are already on the same page. So offensively, you're getting your 2-minute drill ready. And defensively, you're figuring out exactly when to call these timeouts.
And Gregory can see that the play clock is now under 10. Time is ticking away. We're under 2.5. Got to think maybe a timeout after this play here. Thomas, the ball carrier. Smith again with the stop.
And the chart that a lot of coaches are going to look at right now with 2 minutes left with the play clock. You want to call timeout, and here's why. Because the offense right now, if they run the ball 6 times, you're going to utilize all of your timeouts. You essentially have 6 plays to stop Kansas State from getting multiple first down conversions.
Let's check in with Sam. Sam, what do you have?
Guys, after that big play by Banks, this sideline was absolutely deflated. Coach was running by saying, be positive, we're fine, we're fine. And honestly, it didn't look like they believed it. After that last play, some of the guys started stepping up off the bench. The fans are on their feet, and they're getting a little bit more excited. Right now, they're going for the strip, though, guys.
Need that fumble. They need a turnover. They need something positive to happen. With 2:11 to go, and Iowa State now down to 2 timeouts. Kansas State has 3 left.
You have to tackle the football if you're a defender for Iowa State right now. Tackle the football, swarm to the football, and get on it as quickly as possible.
Thomas again, holding on to that football. And will they take another timeout here? Lyle with the stop. Also Smith over. So they're down to their final timeout. They've got 1 left.
Now offensively, what do you tell your players in these situations? Number 1, hang on to the football. Do everything you possibly can to hang on to the football. Sacrifice the yards for the ball. But number 2, get up slowly. Get up very slowly. Put the ball on the ground. Do not hand it to the official. And defensively, if the ball is on the ground, you take it and give it to the official so he winds the clock as fast as possible.
So 2:06 to go. 3rd down and 4. Showing blitz. Thomas picks it up. They fire to the sideline, but a flag is on the play in the backfield.
Holding on the offense, number 8. Penalties decline. 4th down.
This is exactly what Paul Rhodes wants right now. And offensive coordinator Tom Herman, I tell you what, he already has his plays dialed up for the 2-minute drill. They're going to get the ball with decent field position. If you're the punt returner right now, secure the football. Remember what I told you? Coach Rhodes yelled at me. He said, no heroes. Same deal right now, son. Catch the football. Let your offense get on the field.
Josh lands back deep for the Cyclones.
And now the whistle. So here we go. 149. 24-17.
These are moments that you live for as a player and you love as a play caller. And Paul Rhodes loves these moments as a head coach. He's going to make those critical decisions on certain plays. But the number one thing he can do right now is allow his coordinator, Tom Herman, to stay in the rhythm that he's about to get in with their 2-minute offense. I would expect the quarterback to utilize his outside lanes right here. That's where he's had success throwing the rock.
Arnaud to the sideline. And the timing of the hit was perfect that time. And that was intended for Darius Darks.
The number one thing right now is that you have a ton of time. You get 1:43 seconds to move the football. The quarterback can tuck it and run. And right now, if you go up against coverages, remember, Kansas State's going to be in their nickel defense. And potentially right now, they're actually in their dime defense with 6 defensive backs on the football field. All these DBs are going to be dropping. You're going to have the ability to run and scramble to gain a lot of yards as he does right here.
He slides. The fans wanted a hit, a late hit on the play with the slide by Arnaud. They don't get it. He's short of the first down. 1:30 to play.
Biggest thing they could do after every play, hand that ball to the official.
Arnaud. They pick up the first down.
Remember, this is not the National Football League. The clock will stop when you get this first down. It is not going to go as fast as they cross midfield with 1:16. It's a ton of time right now.
10 of 22, 115 for Arnaud. Plenty of time, wide open, hits his receiver again, and they get out of bounds. So again, that's Colin Franklin, 6'7", 254-pound junior, 18 catches, and a couple of touchdowns in his career at Iowa State. Now he can make it 20. He's got the last 2.
These tight ends are 2 of the better players on this team, and right now, the way the secondary of Kansas State's playing, which is they are dropping 8 defenders, making it hard to have anything on the outside lanes or deep down the middle. The quarterback is going to have a lot of easy throws. The key is when you catch it, get upfield and get down. You don't need to try to run all the way to the sideline. You have a lot of time left.
Arnaud, watch out, keeps his feet, throws to the middle, incomplete.
Remember, Arnaud, your best weapon is your feet. If it's there, run with it.
So 57 seconds to play. 3rd and 5.
Play that works every so often in these situations, some sort of quarterback draw with that running back being your lead blocker, handing it off as they drop 8 defenders.
Arnaud to the sideline, in and out of the hands of the intended receiver. And that was Darks. So 4th and 5. This is the ball game right here.
And you got to make that play. But the biggest thing now, if you're the receiver, you got to forget about that play. But right now, you're going to get called upon potentially again as this place is rising their feet on probably the biggest play of the afternoon.
Arnaud. Caught! Inside the 25. Hamilton with the catch.
They call him steady and accurate. A good player, a better person, the most solid receiver of this core. And he steps up and makes his play when he needs to. You knew the quarterback was going to go to Mr. Clutch, and he did.
Arnaud, fresh set of downs, looking end zone. And it is caught! It's caught! tie it up.
Jake Williams, what a story. Out of Des Moines, Iowa, a former walk-on, earned a scholarship, and now he makes easily the biggest play in his career and thus far in the Paul Rhodes era.
And now the officials have put on the headsets. You assume that they're looking at review here.
Remember, in college football, every single play has to be reviewed. As we see him go up for it, what concentration and ball skills.
Confirmed, touchdown.
Grant Mahoney on for the point after.
And now for the extra point to tie. This is Mahoney for the tie. And it's blocked! It's blocked! Kansas State blocked it!
Great pressure up the middle as they get their hands up. It's that little effort. And away he goes.
Oh, my goodness.
Remember, you are not allowed to use another player's momentum to get you up in the air to make a block. And I'm sure that's what the staff of Iowa State is calling on right now. You can't take away the effort of the defenders of that block team for Kansas State. What emotion in this football game right now. Back and forth all afternoon. And if you're Iowa State, you've got to refocus right now on this kickoff. It's going to be an onside kick. You're down one. Kansas State is going to get their hands team on the football right now, and they need to secure the football. Remember, it only needs to go 10 yards. And then they'll have a few times. If Iowa State does get the football back, they'll have a few shots with one timeout remaining.
Well, our booth is situated right behind the section, the cheering section of Iowa State, and this fan base is stunned right below us. Wow. 8 plays, 64 yards in 1:17. Arnaud to Williams, a 23-yard touchdown pass, and then all you needed, Yogi, was the extra point.
And Grant Mahoney coming into the game, 45 for 45 in his career on PATs.
Now, Kansas State, hands unit is out there. Onside kick is coming with 32 seconds to play.
This is always an interesting moment because you only practice your hands team. You probably do it every Friday, but real live drills with people flying action, you might get 3 reps from the beginning of training camp until week 1, if you're lucky. So they haven't seen a ton of live bullets. Usually on Fridays in your walkthrough, you get the hands team out there and the coach throws the ball, he spikes it into the ground. And being a guy on hands team a few times in my career, it's always an interesting moment out there, and you have to be ready because you don't know where it's going to go and how it's going to bounce.
And getting ready to get pummeled.
Big thing now is you want it to bounce once and then bounce twice and get high in the air.
There it is. That'll do it. Onside kick, no flags. And it looks that Iowa State is going to lose this game in devastating fashion. Wow.
Wow is right. An afternoon full of big plays and a lot of penalties. But at the end, they needed 3 big plays that we said in the open, and they got 3 huge plays. The big catch on the touchdown to big number 7, Lamar Brown, the play by Banks, and right there was number 3, and it looks as though Kansas State is going to start off Big 12 in good fashion right now.
They take a knee. Kansas State at Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City will win this game 24-23 over Iowa State. And what a game it was.
What a game it was. And you have to give credit to both staffs. I mean, these are 2 head coaches who are trying to change a culture right now, and a losing culture, that is. And to compete as the way both teams did for 60 minutes, you have to put your hats off and say, great job, Coach Snyder. Paul Rhodes, you are on your way to rebuilding Iowa State, and both teams should be proud of the way they played.
Wildcats 24, Iowa State Cyclones 23. Thank you for joining us today.
Bill Snyder and Kansas State, they go to 3-2. Iowa State drops to 3-2. This is their second loss of the season. So Kansas State wins their first game in Big 12 play. Iowa State drops their first, and they do so in heartbreaking fashion here in Kansas City. Sam is hopefully going to catch up with head coach Bill Snyder.
Iowa State players, they're walking off the field kind of hanging their heads, and it's never good to lose. But they should be proud of what they're doing within that culture of their program.
So let's take a look at how this game finished. Iowa State desperate. Kansas State desperate. Gregory here with this unbelievable play to Banks, and it turns into a touchdown for the speedster. And then Arnaud and Iowa State trying to answer. It's tipped, and somehow they pick up the touchdown. All you need is the extra point. It's blocked, and Kansas State has themselves a win. Sam, take it away.
Coach, first of all, congratulations. And I'm not saying you're an emotional guy, but how emotional was that one right there?
Well, it was almost like it wasn't to be there for a while. But, you know, I've been in the game for a long time, so, you know, I try not to let my emotions run, you know, too rampant. I was awful happy for our youngsters. They needed to have that win, particularly the way it took place. And I appreciate them, our field goal block. We haven't even come close to blocking a field goal. And how we did it, I will never know. But we managed to do it, and maybe it was right that it happened, considering what we had done up to that point in time. But nevertheless, here we are.
Coach, the fans are loving it. Do you feel like Kansas State's coming back?
Well, we have an awful long ways to go. You know, it's not going to happen real quick. It's going to take us some time, and that's, you know, hopefully we can get it turned in the right direction before too very long. You know, I've got to go join my grandchildren one of these days.
Coach, how much of an advantage was it that Gregory knew this defense from South Florida?
The way it turned out, not much. He made some plays that he made some awfully good plays, but he also made some plays that put us in jeopardy a little bit as well. But he's growing and he's learning just as Carson is.
All right, congratulations, Coach. Go enjoy this one.
Thank you, dear.
Back to you guys.
All right, good job, Sam. Well, final thoughts. What a game.
What a game indeed. And this is why we get to do this on the weekends and celebrate college football. Two programs, a lot of energy, a lot of excitement. Half the stadium going home upset. But when they watch the highlights, they will be able to say, we played a heck of a game for the Cyclones. And on the other side, Kansas State. They are on their way back with Coach Snyder.
Well, this is what you see. Nightly basis, weekends on Fox College Sports, 1-877 to get FCS. Sam Steele and Yogi Roth, I'm Dan McLaughlin. An outstanding ball game inside the Big 12. A heartbreaker for Iowa State. K-State, Bill Snyder 1-0 in the Big 12, and they win it in dramatic fashion here from Arrowhead in Kansas City. Again, our final, Kansas State 24, Iowa State 23. Thanks for joining us.